A rupture of the central slip occurs secondary to arthritis, from a volar plate injury, or due to an avulsion injury. Anatomically, it involves volar migration of the lateral bands, resulting in PIP flexion of the involved finger. Over time, this can become a fixed flexion posture or contracture if not treated properly. The extrinsic extensor mechanism is then lost, which is why someone with this injury cannot extend their PIP joint. The extensor mechanism is stretched as a result of synovial proliferation within the PIP joint. As a result of this, the central slip is compromised and unable to achieve full extension, therefore leading to an extensor lag. Finally, the ORL, or the oblique retinacular ligament, shortens, which causes DIP hyperextension and tightness of the ligament. Orthotic management and patient education is key for this type of injury. For the first 6 weeks, full-time splinting that restricts the PIP joint of the involved digit from flexion and positions the joint in extension is the goal. After 6 weeks, discharge the daytime splint and transition to a nighttime splint only for about 2 weeks to maintain the PIP joint extension that was gained over the past 6 weeks. Finally, if 0 degrees of extension has been maintained, discharge the nighttime orthosis. Resume full-time splinting if there is an extensor lag of 10 degrees at the PIP joint. Once you have all of your materials ready, begin to heat up the OrphiCast with the heat gun or hot water. Heat up the material until the edges roll or curl, then flip over the material and repeat. I like to heat each side 2 to 3 times to ensure it is thoroughly heated. Pull the ends of the material to stretch it out as much as possible. If you are using 2-inch, cut the excess material with your scissors required to fit to the person's finger. The DIP joint should be free for motion and the PIP joint should be completely covered. Make sure your patient is in the proper position and that the material is not too hot before fabricating. Place the OrphiCast volarly under the involved digit and wrap around dorsally. Pinch the ends of the material together on the dorsal aspect of the finger, creating a seam. Next, smooth out the OrphiCast. Finally, you're going to place the involved finger in the desired position, creating a low load force on the PIP joint of the finger just distally and proximally to the joint, making sure that this force is also tolerable and not painful for the patient. Once hardened, use the blunt edge scissors to cut off any material that is poking the patient or blocking the DIP joint so the patient is able to perform DIP flexion exercises while in the orthosis. Throughout the 6 weeks of wearing the orthosis, make sure to check in with your patient. From my experience, the best results have been from weekly changes of the orthosis. This way you can measure improvements in PIP joint extension every week. Make sure there is no changes in skin color. Discuss the wearing schedule with the patient along with associated precautions and restrictions. Educate the patient on isolated DIP flexion exercises daily to avoid ORL tightness.